say try to be a Renaissance person. Try to get experience in as many areas as you can. If you are interested in science, please become a scientist and work for these places. The drinking water plant, they need scientists. Utility plants, they need scientists in this day and age. Biologists, we take people out and do the macroinvertebrate species test to test the quality of creeks and rivers. We've taken students on walks to all the tributaries to the Anacostia River, which is considered the Black River because over the section of Washington, D.C. is 98% black. So we've done these different programs from weatherization to creek walks to river tours. An EPA employee donated a 22-foot Boston whaler to us, 275 horsepower motors. That's how I was able to join, quote, the yacht club. These guys are retired federal workers. They had the big yachts. They said, oh, North, great fishing boat. But we would take the kids out up the river, down the river. Later I moved to Annapolis to the first black resort community in the country, Highland Beach, and took the boat over there. So we started taking people out on the Chesapeake Bay. I also had crabs free, by the way, in my backyard. I hit a creek and went right to the bank. That's a good story. So you look at solutions, and I'll try to wrap up because we have a big panel here. You look at solutions. We like to look at solutions with sustainability, with energy, air. And it's an extremely complex issue, and we try to address it at every level. Here in Washington, D.C., I've written and passed national legislation, but we actually go out and try to solve these electricity problems. We lobby on them all over the country, all over the world. You look at some problems that are intractable. With the main one now, the most important issue facing us today is global warming. We wanted to solve that problem. How do you solve it? Very quickly, electric vehicles. We promote plug-in fuel cell hybrid electric vehicles. They're producing one now. I think it's the Honda Clarity. GM is going to produce the Volt. We combine plug-in fuel cell hybrid electric vehicles, and this is something young people look at when you start studying. Look at hydrogen fuel cells. I believe that will be the future. You've heard about it. But a car that uses a hydrogen fuel cell that produces electricity combined with a lithium-ion battery, you're not using any petroleum at all. Now, we also get controversial because we support nuclear power. We were the first group to support it. We've supported it now for about 7 years. If you had all electric vehicles and nuclear power, you wouldn't have any emissions. The vehicle doesn't emit any smog-forming gases. We support nuclear because it doesn't emit any nitrogen oxides, no sulfur dioxide, no carbon dioxide, no greenhouse-forming gases, and no smog-forming gases. So as a chronic acute asthmatic who has almost died twice, this makes sense to me. Very controversial in this town, believe me, because the environmental groups are here, but we are into practical solutions. Now, don't just study it theoretically. What I've done is I've gone and toured nuclear power plants all over the United States and all over the world. Toured nuclear power plants all over the United States here. I even went to China to study the new technology, and that's another thing I would like for you to look at. It's called pebble bed modular reactor. It's a different type of reactor that uses helium as a coolant instead of water. So when you think about these issues, don't just think about wind and solar. I think as the African American community, we have to look at the full range of environmental and energy issues. For instance, blacks do not own any component of the energy infrastructure in the United States. Blacks do not own any coal mines. Ponder this. Should blacks own coal mines in a global warming world? Let me conclude by saying we also want to solve that conundrum or that oxymoron of maybe clean coal. Well, what we have come up with is that the carbon monoxide that's coming out of my mouth right now, that comes out of coal plants in vast quantities, most people do not know that carbon dioxide can be converted into gasoline. Those are the sorts of solutions we come up with. If you have questions later, or please go to our website, just Google African American Environmentalist Association, you will find us, and we will be happy to talk to you about practical solutions. Thank you very much.